Hello guys, welcome back to another, well, you know what we're doing. We're doing some more of the Monastery, just fleshing it out today. You see, I'm just expanding the monastery out one block, well, one room. It's just so it makes it more, not as square as it was. So, using mostly magenta wool and orange wool in the process of doing this. Adding in a set of windows, so there's some form of light going in each of these rooms, so they don't seem like a absolute jail cell. I'm just going around checking basically if each room had a window of some sort. Adding in the magenta wall for the floor. This would be a dark wood effect floor afterwards. Adding this layer, but I do remove it afterwards with word edit. It's a little bit too tall for the roof. Just fixing the slight imperfections I did in the last episode. Now using marble pillars and the top caps and end caps, I'm gonna start deciding how I replace these frame pieces. Obviously I picked up the wrong size earlier, and colour. I want white ones, not dark ones. And this is just so it matches and ties into the actual religious factor of the build. As the little chapel does have the same design, well, similar design, and I think I may add it to the actual when we get into the actual keep of the castle, the actual main area where the king would live. You see me just adding a double stack of these column top pieces. I liked it because it added a bit more detail. That's the only reason why I put that in. Oh, just knocking off other stuff as you do. You see me just modify this wall later. That won't be there, that central pillar. None of the interior will be done today, it's just mostly fleshing it out so I know a rough idea what I got to do left. It took quite a while to actually replace all these pillars. It was quite frustrating and time consuming. Adding my cove pieces. They're made out of stone, I think they're stone brick. To finishing off these pillars. And I actually do add them on the second level as well. Add more of a I don't want it to look flat, so that's why I decided to do that. Plus, it's a nice added piece of detail. It suits it quite a lot. I spend, I don't know how long, just filling in these design pieces, really. I miscounted quite a few blocks in between. You see, I had to modify this as the doorway's one block shorter. And it doesn't look right if I had it the same level as the rest of the build, so obviously I modified it where I could. Now, for I do actually modify quite a lot of this build, if I be honest. especially on the second level, because I did not really like it. I do add some windows in the back room, the one that's in the corner. It's going to be the little storage area in a bit, when I do actually go on the inside of the building. Slowly replacing all these blocks, and unfortunately breaking the wrong blocks and placing them in the wrong way. You know, the problems of quickly trying to do something, but take your time at the same time. Now you see me just getting my blocks that I need to develop the roofs. But at first I wanted to just boost this main section of the actual building up one block. And I'm going to try to rebuild the like tiered shape, where it dips in the middle. But you see me even change it even more to make it so you see it almost goes down on where the quartz marble pillars would be placed. Just add a bit more detail. I don't really like having a lot of flat roofs, so if I do this, I thought, you know, make it more of a adventurous shape. Just replacing where I put those there, but I do change it up once again, add a slight angled version of these gaps. This is where I decided to change the height. As I said earlier, I do change it using a bit of world edit. Your best friend is world edit because you can modify whatever you do mess up. So it shows you what's the actual idea, what I want to do with the build, doing this as well. So you see, I wanted this more of a curve, and I did try to put it down as a slab trapdoor, but it didn't work, so I just left it with the slabs. And it's I wanted it to look more like a mixture between the chapel's roof and a bit like the towers, on the way it's dips down ever so slowly. So, but also I wanted it to be its own structure, so, and more, well, less flat. So that's why the whole idea of it being oscillated. I don't actually know these words. Basically on multiple different levels. I don't want it to look too straight, basically. I don't want it to look all the same. So I'd go back around filling everywhere else back up. Going inside of the chapel to get the actual type of log that I used, because I forgot what I used. And just add in some form of support braces. Adds a little bit more detail, really, that's all. Looks more structurally stable as well, so always nice. I do come round and do this on the bottom section as well, where the walkway will be placed. Obviously you see me just carrying on with the walls. Here we go. Bottom section here, and that's it. Now, trying to sort out this section of the roof, because it's got so many little indents in it, took about half an hour in itself, because you have to individually place them. You can't really copy and paste, and just trying to make sure it looks okay is a little bit tedious. And you don't want it to look too blocked and jagged, because if it's too blocked and jagged, it, won't be the best looking build in the world. Anyway, you don't want it too perfect either, so that will make it seem a little too unrealistic, even though it is unrealistic. Fantasy is. You see me just plundering with the idea of just making that a little bit more less I don't actually know the words to this. Less normal to less I don't know. Less straight, less formal. A bit of mess does help, especially in nowadays. Okay, so this is another area where I couldn't copy and paste everything because of it's on two different angles. Even though this end and the other end are identical in dimensions, it was a little bit harder to actually implement that. And as usual, I end up breaking the wrong blocks and having to replace them afterwards. Just making sure I actually like it. I do go through and change a lot of it afterwards. And when I mean afterwards, after originally placing the stuff and putting them down. Here I thought about putting a little wine garden, something like that. A grapes garden for producing wine. And I got the farmland block, but because of that specific block, it causes a lot of lag because it's made like a 3D effect. So I got just some thick mud that I used with the other fields outside of the city, and used the layer material to well, as you see, to help make that idea. And you see there's source grass there popping through the grass textures was. So I had to get my I completely forgot what the stick called. My information stick tool, bind it to my blaze rod, and obviously I replaced it with the thick mud. So there's a little vineyard, kicking everything in the process as you do. Now I'm just getting my wall mix and just about to replace all the orange wall. Yes, it is orange wall. Just double checking the actual blocks are the right blocks. Now I'm getting I think they're stone big slabs. And I do actually change these to the marble pillar slabs because they did look better after going. Oh, I forgot to even put this line in. It's amazing what you forget to do after a few days of not doing any videos. So I'm replacing this line so it looks more. It will add some more detail, just less flat. You don't want your builds to look flat. Even though this build is very flat, it still has a lot of detail and it doesn't look, it's flat because of the specific ways you do it. The roof helps, the marble columns do help, and those marble slabs just help as well. So on the inside I've decided that I'm gonna get the floors done. See if it just magically replaces all the magenta wool. Now, if this is where I'll put in the windows, brighten it up the place. Adding the actual glass panes in. I think these are the stoned ones that add that more gothic effect to it. Back with the magenta wool, but I decided to replace the actual door frame with I think it's diorite brick, polished diorite. I do replace that beam. I do manually place every single one of these blocks at first, until I got very lazy because I got bored of doing it. I got my wand out. The floors in here will be the same as the cobblestone roads, because back then monasteries and the actual rooms you would have in them wasn't too fancy. Yes, the ones upstairs do have wooden floors, but they will be almost identical with the ones on the ground floor. You will have your basic needs: a desk, a bed, maybe a chair. You didn't have a lot if you was a monk in a monastery. Now you see me actually making this wall a little bit more, on the angle compared to the rest, and just going over all the pieces. I do replace those coves afterwards, the ones over the oak logs, because I don't really need them when there's an oak log pillar there. Adding the coves all over the windows, the door frame, sorry. Adding the rest of the glass windows. And I decided to add a this was going to be a way that the monks and the priests was able to go up and down to get up to the second level, but I do replace that and just leave it as a balcony. I don't understand why I put the slabs there, because I've never put them in anywhere else. I guess because of putting them in the door frames, I thought, oh, these are there. But I do come back and replace that. So, not to worry. going around making sure all of them are placed, making this more on an angle so it doesn't look too block like. Windows to finish off. Well, glass in the windows. There we go. Now, what did I do next? I see my mistake here, and I do replace and remove those blocks. Not cobblestone, I want to say cobblestone for some reason. For brick, stone brick slabs. Just getting my doors and, you know, your usual stuff for making stairs. Okay. You see, some of these doors have not been placed correctly, so I have to go back and replace them afterwards. Most of them I do. Now here is where I'm going to put the actual, well, I want it to be like a barricade so you don't fall off. But I do decide then, actually, I want to put the staircase here. So I'm not actually sure what these blocks are, but I know they're made out of oak, and the oak framed stairs as well. Then the rails, knocking stuff over. I had to do that so I get the actual frames done there. And the handrail, I couldn't get it to suit right, plus the 3D textures on the pillars didn't look right, so I removed the inner ones and just stick with the ones on your right hand side if you're walking down the stairs. Obviously I double thickened them, but I still had the problem that they wouldn't sit properly. I don't understand why. Maybe I'm not placing them in the right place. Going over to put the frames for the balcony, I do change this idea for something a little bit different, using these stone brick anvil shapes, and I do come back and change them once again. Where the anvils are, I do come back and change them to I think they're the pyramid. Just ignore the clock in the background, if you can hear it. You see, I do change them, and I do change the stone slabs to I think trapdoors. Yes, I am correct. Just to, you know, make it a little less. I don't know the words. Flat. It's the only word that I can come up with. I don't want it to seem too blocky, that's all. Obviously chicken everywhere else. And here's where I originally did. I put the full staircase there and I decided not to. I need to come back and replace those pillars. Pillar trapdoors. Or unless I already did it, which... No, I did. Yeah, it just looked too steep and too strange to have it on the back. So I just added, you know, 2 of the wooden rails. Coming into here, I dropped it down 1 more block, and I added I wanted like a roof beam all the way through the middle, and this is where I've noticed all the doors was wrong. Well, some of them. Just going into the chapel's basement to get the actual blocks that I used. And this is going to be what it's just so you can't see the roof on the inside. It adds a little bit more detail. Nice detail. And obviously this is on a corner, so I had to adjust everything to a corner shape. And on the inside I wanted to put almost a angled log beam to break up some of that flatness of that wall. So I got oak log. I think they're, oh no, I'm really bad with these blocks and names, so I do apologise. I think these are half slabs and trapdoors. And you see me just go, oh no, that doesn't look right, and replace them automatically. I'm thinking, I want this to go down here or this to go this way, and it looks okay, but I might come back and try to fix it. Because, yeah, it's too bulky. Finishing off with these wooden cover-ups. I don't know what they're actually called, so... Doing one in each room now. But I do drop the ceiling down one more block. I do this because I wanted the rooms not to be too tall, because, as I said, they didn't have a lot of luxuries back in those days in the monasteries. Go in each room. I should have really, thinking about it, did each room do one room at a time and just copy and paste. Honestly, it would have saved me so much time, because all the rooms are the same. I changed on one angle. Oh well, you learn from your lessons, don't you? Coming back to see what I can do to it and deciding, no, I can't really do anything to it. Adding some more of this detail on the inside of this canopy now. Is it called a canopy? I'm not sure. But I wanted to make sure it's got a lot of detail. Instead of I'm going to put the same method that I did in the kitchen. It doesn't look right because of, you know, what's the textures set for this is, but I've tried my best. Going in each room now, making sure all the doors open. I should really add some more of those frames in, but I don't. I'll probably do it when I'm designing the interior. Now you see me adding these like oak poles onto direct slabs. Basically, I had an idea when thinking of it. There should be like almost a canopy type of thing over the top. Just playing with the idea of the beams, and just use the standard log. And measuring out how many of these I wanted it to put in. I do decide to put 4 in. And this, sorry about that, dogs are barking in the background. Wait 1 second. Sorry about that, the mailman decided to come, but back to the build. Oh, just loading in the actual video file. So yeah, I thought it would be cool to have this like designer. It's like a covering for the basically where I put I don't understand how to explain it. I know it as a lean-to. It's an outside structure with a framed roof, normally just held up by beams like this is, but people do use it for ground crops and vine bushes and stuff, so I don't know what exactly call it, and I am sorry, but you see me just seeing how I want to design this, toying around with ideas. I thought it would be a nice little effect. It just add a bit more shape and less boringness to the build. Just seeing how I want to place these actual slabs, but I don't place them, I remove them. Didn't look right, and I do mess up part of this lean-to up. So just checking everything is what I want to do, and I guess this is the end of the video, so thank you guys, and I will see you in the next. Goodbye.